Welcome back to Pastor Plek's podcast, recording from Austin, Texas, where we talk about faith, culture, and everything in between. Kind of got a little tongue-tied there. I'm so glad that all of you are with us. I'm Pastor Plek. I've got Catie Sas in studio with me.
Howdy.
And I've got Pastor Joseph Aiken III with me.
What's going on?
Oh, man, Pastor Joseph, you had an incredible sermon yesterday. I was so proud of. I was so excited to be a part of the audience on that. And first off, let's talk about the bumper video. Cody Sparks designed that, and he is a country music star, and so you that kind of came out, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely was some banjoing, if that's a word, going on, and it kind of. So I heard it the first service.
It was accentuated second service.
Second service, everyone got real quiet before I started.
Did you do something to make everyone quiet? I don't understand why that happened.
Well, when it came on, I kind of raised my eyebrows because everyone was staring at Joseph, this big black guy with the banjo music,
kind of contradictory.
I mean, some,
hey, listen.
Some people like country. You know, some.
This was like Appalachian.
Yeah, and so it just kind of, I think it threw everyone off.
Yeah.
And this is a new series, and so you're starting off, and everyone's looking at Joseph like, "Oh, so this is how you roll," you know? Like, nah, I didn't do it. It shocked me too.
That was so.
It was great. That was good.
I so enjoyed that, and it really made my day.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Okay, so let's talk about the series is called Community, and the heart behind it is obviously that we're a community church, and that doesn't mean that just that we're a part for the local community, but that we believe in the concept of community. So talk to me about really what the big idea you were trying to get across and why maybe people resist it.
The big idea was to respond in prayer. That we have to be a praying community. We have to constantly respond in prayer. If we're not responding in prayer, we're responding in us.
Right.
And our first response is how we will respond. And so
respond to what? That might be the better question.
Respond to friction, I would say.
Conflict, maybe?
Conflict came up. People, it could be in a marriage, it could be on your job, it could be at the church, it could be wherever. But what happens is I put that our response, if we're not responding in prayer, if we're not being prayerful, we rely on us. Our ambitions, our arrogance tends to come out because we think we got us here.
Yeah.
And then our selfishness, self-absorbedness was another one of the examples I brought up where we become egotistical. We make it about us. We're not worried about everyone else. So we can see our brother, someone in our community suffering, and we're like, that's fine. They're going to do them. I'm going to do me.
Mm-hmm.
I made it this far by myself, so you need to learn how to make it or go further and get out of this on your own. And how you take someone like Moses, who got over 250 people yapping at him and talking noise, and he's like, you know what? Let me fall on my face.
Yeah.
And we see this, and just this chapter alone happened 3 times, but it was happening all through Numbers. He responded in prayer. He sought God. And so responding in prayer, so you don't just react out of how you in the flesh, how you in your sinful nature, how you would respond. When you respond in prayer, it's like, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this? God, how do you want me to say this? How do you want me to approach this situation? So,
yeah, I think you had 3 things: ambition, arrogance, and
self-absorbedness.
For me, when I thought that, and this took a lot of reflection because I was like, arrogance. That's the thing that kind of came up for me. Mm-hmm. Specifically, hopefully my wife will listen to this, but I had the kids. Adrian went and spoke at a women's retreat in Pennsylvania this weekend, so I had the kids from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I put them down Sunday, and she came home Sunday night. And there was this I can do this. Like I am like pretty much stay-at-home dad.
Well, there's nothing
champion.
wrong with having confidence.
Sure, but there was a part that I think that what I started to realize, there's a tendency in me to kind of go, now what can I go and do to leave her with the kids for 4 days? Because I had some bad thoughts. So I think arrogance kind of got, that's where, I think I said this in a sermon a couple weeks ago where I was like, nobody sits around and goes like, I have the sin of pride. I just think I'm just better than you. And I literally found myself thinking like, I'm doing this parenting thing amazing.
I don't see what all the complaining is about.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear any more whining. So That's kind of, that went through my head, and it probably was not good. I probably should have shared that out loud. Maybe now Adrian will start listening to this, and then we'll have like my deepest confession will be here. But yeah, no, for me it's arrogance. What about you, Catie? Ambition, arrogance, self-absorption.
Oh man, I don't know what mine falls under. Maybe a little bit of arrogance, but I thought of parenting. So maybe y'all can like help me figure out which one this is.
Right.
But I thought of parenting, and
it's interesting you and I both went to the parenting thing. I wonder why that is.
Well, I mean, mainly because I've been like struggling as a parent for like the last few months. But first off, I do just want to say that sage green is your color.
Oh yeah,
sage green. You really rocked that color. And you had your gray denim and well, it wasn't quite sage green shoes. It was kind of like a mix between
like olive.
It was olive. It was like an olive drab army look.
Yeah, so it was kind of like monochromatic with like the different families of green with the gray. So you brought it together with the neutral. I just wanted you to know. I mean, not that you don't know that you already have great style, but I just wanted to, know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wow. I never get any of that love right there.
Remember your boots.
My boots. I got a lot of criticism for my boots. I remember that. So I might have to run my fashion closet by Catie next time. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Catie.
Well, no, I mean, I was thinking of parenting, and the last few months, I've been just on the struggle bus with Ava, and like it's just toddlers are hard.
You're in that hard age though, and
I'm trying to figure out discipline. Like
How old is
discipline, she's 21 months.
Yeah,
so she's not even 2 yet. And I know deep down she's learning, she's exploring, she's curious,
she's sinning.
Like she's being her age,
right?
Like she's not trying to ruin my life. She's not trying to, but it's kind of like when you go to those places in your head where you're not leaning on God, you're not leaning on the Holy Spirit, and you're responding out of the flesh. Yeah. And so I've yelled at her a lot over the last couple months. I've like,
how's that gone?
It's terribly. Like she doesn't want to sit in her car seat. And so when she doesn't want to sit in her car seat, she just stands there and holds on to the railing as tight as she can and smiles like she knows she needs to sit down. Yeah. And so I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm gonna shove you into this thing whether you like it or not. Yeah. And I don't try anything else. I'm just like, I'm pissed off. You're going to sit in this freaking seat. You're going to sit here. And I don't know if anyone has ever tried to like manhandle and force a toddler to do anything. But it's a lot like if you were to grab a lion by the throat and hope it doesn't eat you alive. Yeah. So it's kind of like that situation where you're like, I'm going to manhandle and force this tiny human into this car seat or into doing anything.
I kind of call it calf roping. It's like a 3-second skill.
So, Chris, would you say this is self-absorbed?
It might be. It might be self-absorbed because I used to make fun of. So here's my thing. I used to make fun of all the like gentle parenting techniques and like all of the, be a peaceful, calm parent where like I didn't grow up with a peaceful, calm parent. It's like we got screamed at, we got spanked,
and you turned out perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't have any childhood issues at all. And so I'm sitting here the last like week or so, and Ava has been hitting and shoving, and like she'll scream back at me. And so then I'm in this freaking battle with this not even 2 feet tall person who refuses to listen. And I'm just like, it was actually really terrible. This is like the not so good part. I would have thoughts about, I hate motherhood. I don't know why I did this. I don't know why people do this. And so I'm sitting there going,
you and Adrian have a lot of the same thoughts.
But I usually, before she entered this phase, I loved being a mom. Yeah. I loved it. But it's this phase that has like brought out so many sides of me that I don't love. And
so I think for you to just I mean, I know you can keep going about your.
I know I could
know.
talk about this all day.
I can tell.
But I'm about to get
Oh,
over
are
the
you
hump.
landing the plane on this?
I'm landing the plane, I swear.
Okay.
So basically, last Wednesday I had like my most defeated day.
Uh-huh.
And then Wednesday night I was like, this has to end. This has got to stop. I can't be this way. I can't keep thinking. It was all about me. Like, it wasn't like I was trying to fix her. I was like, I need to like work on me so that I'm not screaming at my kid.
That's good.
Like, and so I like sat down and I wrote down all of the things I'm thankful for being a mom, and all the things that God, I was like, okay, I need to like hone in on God. I need to respond how God would want me to respond to my kid when she's giving me or when she's just like having a hard time. And I bought a book, which I don't read. I don't know if anyone knows this
what
about
book
me.
did you buy?
I bought a book called Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids.
Whoa.
And I'm seriously, this is
I
probably,
need to hear about, we need to talk about
it's
this
like
book.
arrogance, self-absorbed, probably those two big ones, because I used to make fun of stuff like this. Now I'm like,
I'll be
there's
honest,
something to it.
I think you're all three. Because the aspect of the ambition, like you want this child to be perfect, and you want to be able to.
I wanted her to listen. I wanted her to mind. I wanted her to obey. But I wasn't like, I was just trying to control her. And I wasn't like trying to like teach her anything really. I was just like, are you kidding me? I just told you to pick up that trash on the floor and you're just going to walk away. Are you serious? Do you know who I am? I am your mama. I just asked you to pick that up. You better get back over and you better pick it up. And so So yes, all three of them probably. But yeah, the last few days, your sermon really hit home because I was like, yeah, I have been responding out of like my own lack for so long, which is why I've been having such a hard time.
Wait, hold on. Your own lack of
all of the things. My own lack of
spiritual love, grace, mercy, things.
All of the things. And it's like my tank has been empty. And I've just kind of been like, oh, you know what? There actually are some childhood traumas that I might need to work through in regards to parenting so that I don't keep this cycle going of how my parent used to parent.
Yeah.
Out of their lack.
Well, yeah.
All parents
and we naturally have that tendency to repeat what we were taught. And so it is challenging.
Yeah. These really dark, angry sides came out of me, and I'm like, I don't like
parenting
this.
does that.
During the sermon, was it emotional for you?
Yeah.
I was like excited, and I don't. This sounds like weird. Oh, I'm excited. Everyone's crying, but there were a lot of people who were emotionally affected this Sunday, and I couldn't figure out what it was specifically, but I'm sure it's a lot of what you're wrestling with. It came out in an abundance. And so I think the Lord was really doing something through what Joseph was preaching on. So Joseph, take us through, we should be responding in prayer, but we respond in the flesh out of arrogance, out of ambition, out of self-absorption. So talk to us really the flow of the talk and really what you brought out of it.
Man, the first part of it was like just that part of feeling attacked by just people.
Yeah.
An aspect of when the world, it could be people, could be like just feeling like everything's caving in on you. It's like, how do I respond in this when I'm literally face to face with opposition? I lost my job, spousal, just could be whatever it is, but I'm face to face with something, some type of conflict. How do I respond?
Right.
And naturally for me personally, I brought up many different stories, but just the idea of somebody cussing me out in the church, in his office, in front of another pastor, telling me I'm not good enough. How did I want to respond? I told everybody I wanted to slap the fire out of his mouth, is what I said. And what can happen is...
You would have broke his face.
Probably, I would have not
been
stopped.
In jail for
I would have been locked up, for real. Because, anyways, we're not going to talk about how I wanted to respond. But that's what happens is, in my mind and our minds, when you're not spending...
Don't make Joseph mad.
You don't want to see me when I'm mad. Hulk smash. When in our hearts, like if you're not spending time with God, if you're not praying beforehand, and allowing yourself to prepare. Because what happened was small scale. Moses was approached by his brother and his sister before this. And they came up to him, hey, did God really pick you? And I feel God prepared him for this right here. God had always been preparing him, but he had went through situations like this where it's like, I've had 1, 2 people close to me in my inner circle come up against me. And I responded, I just prayed. God, what do you want me to do with this? How do you want me to handle this? And so him seeing 250 plus men come at him right in front of him, approach him, telling him, you don't deserve where you're at. And him knowing, I know, but I didn't put myself here. God did. And so understanding that God's placement for us was on purpose, understanding that if God put us here, there's a reason for him putting us here. And so if God wanted you to be the mom, if God wants you to be a mom, so what does that mean I have to do? I have to change some stuff. Chris brought up like we parent like we were parented. And so what can happen is that through parenting, I think that's a good example of responding in prayer. God reveals to us like, hey, this is some sin nature. This is some sin in your life that you have and you didn't even know from trauma in your past. I was just dealing. I didn't have a father in the household, and I was gonna bring this up. I didn't bring it up in the sermon, but I didn't have a father, and so I didn't know how to. Yeah. I didn't know how to love my wife.
You said you'd never been kissed by a grown man. You kind of made that joke, but I don't know if it was like a joke.
Grown man he wasn't related to is what he said. So
I said, well, one sermon I said grown man not related, but then another sermon, the other one I did say just grown man. But yeah. I mean, honestly,
like when you were a kid, like you never had like
no, I didn't, and not even somebody. I had one uncle, he kissed me on the forehead or something, but he ended up going to jail. That was so that stopped. Like later on, that stopped. Like not because so. I see how that sounded.
No, but he later
circle that one back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So he was my uncle. He didn't go to jail because he was kissing me. No, I'm sorry.
This is not a laughing matter. All right, we take all sin
no,
seriously.
I was just saying like that was the one uncle. He went to jail for something else. Oh, but that was the one uncle that I had where he loved
affectionate.
Me. Yeah, he was affectionate. It's like he kissed my forehead, love you, nephew, and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't weird. My apologies. I was like, why are they laughing so hard at that? But I
do you kiss J4?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I kiss Austin. He's my oldest. And all the time.
Yeah. And I didn't have that growing up, but I'm like, man, I want to show my son love and I want him to understand it's okay to be affectionate. It's okay. I mean, I grew up where around men didn't say I love you to other men. And then in adulthood, I tell men all the time, I love you, my brother. Tell Chris, love you, brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. And you know, I'm like, that's okay to tell somebody. It's like, yes, you know, so.
Yeah. So I really love what you brought out, just some really excellent points, some things that really spoke to me. I think I got, I don't know if you guys watch John Christ at all, and he does like the like the how many ums and ahas and I did my counter. I think you got like 25 on the you said we want the crown without the sacrifice or something along.
Oh, we want the status without
the status without the sacrifice. That got a lot of feedback. What did you mean by that?
So in the story, you got Korah, who is looking to be, he wants to be the head. He wants to be the leader. And he's like, yo, like, put me out in front. And he wanted to be there, but he didn't know what Moses had went through, what he had experienced. And I had brought up how Moses talked to God face to face. God said, this is how I talk to him face to face. Like everyone else dreams just different ways. And so Korah wanted that spot. And so I said he wanted to be there, but he didn't understand the shoes he was filling to get to that point. And oftentimes you look at Pastor Chris and you say, man, I want what he does. I can do what he does. I want to be in that position. But then you don't know that there's many nights that he has to leave because he has to go to the hospital, or he's on a phone call with someone who's thinking about killing themselves. And this isn't the in between the 6 to 5 hours that he's just doing ministry. This is like off where he's supposed to be with his wife. He's supposed to be with his 4 boys. And he gets that text message where, I got to respond. I have to respond. Like, I can't just let this person, I've never heard this from this person. And so oftentimes we want the leadership, we want the fame, we want what people see, not knowing that behind it, like, there's a lot going on. And so that status of, hey, let me put myself out front, but I don't know that there's work that I have to do there's sacrifice that I have to do to get there.
That man, I think that's powerful. I like I said, I think everyone sort of was like moved by that, and I'm trying to figure out what because it was simple. It was like pray, and that's why I think the message was so powerful. It was really a 1-point message. Pray. Yeah. Your response is prayer. Your response is prayer. Your response is prayer. What are you guys doing? We should be praying. And do you think the emotional response, and maybe Kate, I'm putting this in your lap. Do you think the emotional response from Joseph's message is that they haven't been praying, or that they feel like they've responded, so many interactions have gone awry because they did not respond rightly, and now there's this weird misfire in a relationship? What do you think people's emotional, because it was palpable emotional response to the message? What do you think it was?
I think it just brought a lot up that maybe people weren't dealing with. And because I think sometimes what I realized was I was praying every day for patience. I was praying every day that God would help me to be gentle, help me to not yell. Like I was praying all of these things. And so I think a lot of times we can pray for what we think are the right things. Right. What we think are what God wants to hear or God wants from us. But then God will reveal in however he chooses what he's actually trying to pull out of us. And so I think maybe your sermon reached deep down for a lot of people.
I think it did.
And brought up things that God has been trying to reveal to them and that they've been denying. Because now I've been like, not that you pray the wrong thing, but are you praying God's will? Are you praying that God would reveal his heart to you?
That's
and
good.
So I have started praying for Ava specifically. Like
it seems like a simple thing. Of course you pray for your kid, but we don't, right? I love that. I love how simple yet and how practical I think the message was. And I think it really does get to, I think if we would take our battles to the Lord on the front end, it would relieve so much disaster on the back end, because we wouldn't create more friction by talking about it and like and assuming motives and like, can you believe that this person said all that, blah, 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 and as opposed to just go and let's just have it out anyway. So I just thought it was really well done. I think you did a great job, and I think that people really received it really, really well, which is awesome. We had a cool question that came in because you talked about how Korah and Moses were first cousins. And so the question that was brought up is, should there be a priority of blood family, first cousins, as in the example of Moses and Korah, over church family? I thought that was an interesting question. What do you think, Joseph?
Simple answer, yes.
All right, so there should be a priority to blood family over church family.
And I say that in the sense of, I'm not gonna take care of Ava before I take care of Kalia, my daughter. So yes, there's that aspect of if they're asking, hey, am I going to take care of my household, my family? Then I take care of them first.
And you can reinforce that with scripture. In fact, it says, reinforce these commands, talking about how widows should be taken care of. You should if you are related to a woman whose husband has passed away, you need to take her in your house, take care of her, put her in the assisted living home, whatever this obviously written before that happened, right? Reinforce these commands so they will be beyond reproach. But if someone, this is 1 Timothy 5:8, but if someone does not provide for his own, especially his own family, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. In fact, and so what the reference here, but if someone has not provided for his own relatives, especially his own family, he has denied the faith and is worse than unbeliever. So that's 1 Timothy 5:8. So clearly there is a priority of blood over, because what you'd hope is that blood would be spiritual, but you get to live out the one another's within blood family. And then the reality is it should extend to your spiritual family.
Yeah.
The one thing I think can get complicated with that is, Jesus said, who are my sister and my brother? Like whenever his mother and brothers were coming for him, thinking he was crazy. And he's like, who are my my mother, my brother, my sisters. It's he who does the will of God. And so I think that's why it's always the challenge that you juxtapose those two verses against each other, and you're like, well, which one is it? Whenever your physical biological family is calling you to do something that's not of God's will, then that's when you distance yourself from your biological family. Never at the same time not providing for, taking care of financially. And I think that's usually when you take care of the financials, you end up taking, it's not just financials, but emotional, spiritual well-being as best as you can. So there's just a priority there of your physical family that God has entrusted you with, given you, placed you in, and then beyond the church family, which is he's also put you in.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Pastor Plek's podcast. So excited. Thank you, Joseph, Pastor Joseph, for an incredible message, an incredible movement. I felt the Spirit of God was there this past Sunday, and I'm looking forward to another week of incredible preaching. All right. So, we will, if you have any questions, don't forget to text us at 737-231-0605. We would love to have your questions here. So long for now, and have an awesome week of worship.